Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence a field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? What is happening? Baby Friday, Friday night's Eve. Oh, shit. It's almost the weekend. Got a really good show for everybody right now. I'm just getting my notes all situated. But hey, let me ask you something. When was the last time that you had your financial health and well-being checked up? In other words, we all take care of our health. We all go for our periodic checks at the VA. So when was the last time that you went out or you had somebody take a look at your financial well-being? Because that's something that I can help you with. Go ahead and look where you're currently at, whatever strategies that you have, things that you want to implement for the future, whatever goals you want to achieve. I can help you with that so that later on in life you achieve your goals and you're not going back to work in your late 60s, 70s, or even 80s, like I've seen some folks go out and do that, because we all think that this magical pot of money from the VA or the military, that it's going to keep going, and to some degree. But I'm here to tell you that nobody here is going to retire in a 401k. And the payments that we get, I mean, with things like inflation, the future value of money, and everything else, I mean, and who even knows if Social Security is going to be there later in life. So the point being, folks, is that you want to make sure that your financial well-being, that you're on par and that you're healthy and that you're not keep digging yourself or living paycheck to paycheck. All right. So that's where I come in, and I can give you a free look. The conversation is free. If it makes sense, great. If not, that's okay. But at least later on, when you're ready and that becomes a priority, then you already have the plan already implemented, and you'll think of me and to help you achieve those goals. All right. And also, when was the last time? Where are you currently sitting on your VA claims and benefits? Are you where you need to be as far as the compensation? Are you at 15, 30, 40, 50, 60%? I have helped veterans who were at 10%, $170 a month. That's what gets you as 10%. Go from that to 40 to 50 to 60. A guy that was 20% in California, I just got him to 90%. He's receiving over $2,500 in compensation for things that he hadn't claimed or he didn't know how to apply them on the applied for them on the website. I also got an 84-year-old service member also go from 40% to 100%, in addition to getting his house, getting the grant to have his house remodeled because he had mobility issues. And most recently, last week, I just did a 91-year-old veteran also apply for the first time ever any of his VA claims and benefits. So if you want to take a look at that, the conversation's free, doesn't cost you anything. I show you how to fish, how to make things happen, and then I stay with you until the beginning to the end, because I mean that's what we do as brothers and sisters. So take a look at that, because you work for these benefits, giving up your body, mind, soul, and spirit. It's time for you to get compensated because you earned it. All right. So, and in this show, we'd like to, so if you want more information on it, I do put out a lot of content that is very tangible and digestible. So you can follow me I'm posting articles on Substack. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, you name it, I'm out there. So like, subscribe, and follow. Help me with the analytics. I don't get compensated for any of this. This is just something that I've been doing for a long time, putting stuff out there and helping my brothers and sisters. And if you like if you want to get in this game or you want to start, you want to show you need a mentor, Brian Cobra from situated.com is also could be a great resource. So hit him up. He's on one of my contacts. You can get with me and I can make that connection as well. So because in this show we're all about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to bear arms, freedom of speech. So again, like, subscribe, and follow, and stick around. And if not, that's okay. Check out something from situated.com. So that's pretty much it. All the pleasantries out of the way. There's been a lot of chatter. So obviously, as I'm putting out a lot of content, some of you folks send me things out for me to check out. Um, and most recently, I came across a post, and and I wanted to talk about this as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh man, this is really good content. So let me fill you in on the things that I've seen today on social media. So a senior military leader, they failed their fitness test, and then they went online and posted about it. And excuse me, and I will give it to the guy. He's accountable. He's saying, "Yep, I messed up. I let my job get the best of me. Whatever, whatever." And you know, I- so I got to give that. I mean, to some degree, he was accountable. Then, if as you start reading some of the comments, some people he starts getting praised for being brave and accountable. Oh my God, this is what we need. Blah blah blah. Whatever, whatever. Okay. I mean, I got words and feelings to say about that, and we'll get into that. So today on the field up, we're going to be talking about leadership standards, combat readiness. Hello, physical fitness, and where the modern culture has started rewarding excuses more than the excellence. You know what I'm saying? So this isn't about one individual; it's about the standards. So you know, let me tell you like this, and I'm gonna put myself on blast here because you know uh, it's whether men and women responsible for leading warriors should be held to a higher standard more than everybody else, right? So, and it's about with as a Marine veteran, I was taught that leaders go first, lead from the front. We set the example, we set the tone. If a junior Marine fails the standard, corrective actions as follows. You mean that they were gonna, we're gonna break our foot in that young troop's ass, and to the point where he's gonna be coughing up toe jam for the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So why should senior leaders be treated any different? Okay. Again, I will give you examples where I've messed up, and and then I was held accountable. Right. So let's talk about accountability, fitness, readiness. Whether we've confused honesty with accomplishments. Okay. So, as I mentioned, this senior individual, I think he's a sergeant first class. I think he's an E7 or a first sergeant. If anybody knows what the dude is, then let me know and we can go from there. Okay. Uh, so so he posts about it socially on social media, and people are like, "Oh, you're brave. You're so thanks for sharing. This is accountability. Whatever, whatever." Is that really is admitting failure nowadays? Is that being called accountability, or is accountability what happens after failure? So this can be like the foundation of the show, right? So again, hey, look, I got it. You messed up, whatever. But I am 100% sure, man, that, and I hope this show makes its way to this individual. So if you disagree, hey, throw it on the comments. I get it. We can agree to disagree, right? So when does accountability becomes validation, right? So uh, because today in today's modern culture, uh, people, everybody's got a voice. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody's got one of these things right here. Anybody could be, a reporter. Anybody can, people blog about it. Everybody's an expert now. Everybody's an expert on politics. Everybody's an expert on combat, on whatever. So, I get it. But at the end of the day, when do we often do are we ignoring correction, improvement, results? I mean, is that where we're going nowadays with this thing? Because accountability isn't like, oh, hey, look, everybody, I fucked up, boo hoo hoo, me, and whatever. Where was the leadership? So let me tell you all, as I was, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the bottom line, folks, is that as service members, our job is to basically be physically fit. I mean, we go out into battles, we kick ass, we take fucking names. That is our job. It's our primary military occupational skill set, or MOS, is, yes. I was a mechanic in the Marine Corps when as a young Marine. I was a mechanic, uh, and I was a wrench turner. But that wasn't my primary job is a basic infantryman, okay, a trigger puller. So that's why we highlight in the Marine Corps that, hey, everybody's a basic infantry person. Yes, we do have 0311s, the 03 field, which is the grunts. And when I say grunts, it's not people that do work. Those are the guys who go out there and do all this. However, if just like we did in Iraq, we've done in other places that I deployed. Hey, if we need somebody, hey, we need you on a patrol. You'll find people of different MOSs, different jobs, going out there patrolling, doing their thing, calling for fire, uh, doing nine line evac, all kinds of stuff, right? So again, we gotta hold ourselves to the standard, and that things, like fitness, finances, leadership, relationships. You gotta lead. None of these things. These are the basics and standards that we have to follow ourselves. Nobody, nobody's above the law, right? So, it, you know, we have to have leaders. And I'm here. I'm here. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So I got out of the Marine Corps after my first enlistment in 1997. I went back home here in Florida, and then went back in. Part of coming back in, I had to be able to pass the physical fitness test, and among other things, got back in. I ended up at truck company in Camp Pendleton, California, right there, beautiful Margarita, the Margarita Hills, right? And so out there, and I thought, I part of coming back in, I was demoted because that was the thing back then. I came back in, then picked up corporal, then picked up sergeant. Anywhere else, and we used to do a lot of physical fitness. And for whatever reason, maybe I wasn't back then on the best or during that time frame. I don't know, but there was a company run. Captain Livingston, great dude, but man, can this dude run our asses to the ground? So we were those of you who've been in Camp Pendleton and remember the beautiful peaks of Margarita, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. That when you start running up past that rappel tower at the bottom, and you start going up on them, that all the way to the top. So, anyways, as we were going up, I mean, we hit one of them hills, and it was rough, and I fell back again. It was a company run, so it was other platoons in the way. So, bottom line is, I fucked up. I fell out, right? And me being one of the sergeants, one of the motivators in the platoon, I think at the time he was Gunny Johnson, the guy. Uh, then became Master Sergeant. Anyways, he pulls me aside and he's like, "Hey, Korea, come on over here. Why did you fall out of run?" And I was like, Gunny, no excuses. I fell out because that's. I mean, not in a drill instructor way, but he dug in my ass, and I felt like shit. And he goes, "From here on out, until you fix yourself, you are not going to be in front of the platoon." And I think Master Sergeant Cervantes, I think that was his name. He was the other guy in charge of the platoon too. Real hard ass. That's okay because he was a leader. But again, we don't have that luxury as leaders, especially whether you're starting out as a young leader or whatever else. We don't have that excuse because we're the ones setting the pace, the tone, and the standard. So how can I, as a leader, be able to lead others when I'm fucking up. Does that make sense? So, uh, yeah, there's no, and thank God there was no pay. No, how are you feel about paper, whatever else? Had it been somebody else at that time, maybe the conversation, if I was already a shitbag and just messed up already other times, because there are not just in the Marine Corps, in other branches, people who are E5s, E6, E7s, who are just shitbags, or even as younger Marines or soldiers, they're already nasty, right? But if a private lance corporal, if a private lance corporal or junior soldier fail because they stopped training, would the response be supportive or corrective? How would that go today? I'm pretty sure that somebody will break their foot in the junior soldier's ass intensive with a lot of intensity, right? So leadership is not a rank. Leadership is an example. I mean, those are basic cores that, and I know that every service preaches that as an NCO, non-commissioned officer. Non-commissioned doesn't mean that you're not an officer. It's just that you're still an officer. You just aren't appointed by the Secretary of, well, in the Navy and the Marine Corps, by the Secretary of the Navy, by the SECNAV, but you're still appointed, and so so we have to take responsibility and be able to lead from the front in anything and everything that we do, right? Because every branch they talk about readiness, being in the broader military perspective. Uh, here's how physical fitness and standards correlate to combat readiness, credibility, having discipline, and also obviously giving confidence, right? So the Army implemented the ACFT specifically because it was intended to better reflect combat tasks and physical readiness. So it doesn't really matter. And going back to, I think, at the beginning of the Trump administration, and Pete Hegseth himself, he went out and he gave, I think it was a 35-minute speech, which by the way I did watch. Regardless of how you feel about the guy, he went in there. Hey, no more fat leaders, no more fat staff and COICs, no more fat uh, OICs, no more fat, no more food blisters, no more, and then no more dot 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 of whatever else he said. Again, regardless of what he said, our job is to be combat ready. You can't be combat ready the if you cannot pass, whether it's a physical fitness test for in the Marine Corps, is the whole 3 mile run, pull ups, sit ups, or crunches, right? And then the combat fitness test, which mimics, you're doing the crawl, and then the run, and then the zigzag, the throwing the grenade, coming back, carrying the body, and then dragging it, all that crazy shit, right? That we used to do. And as much as we hated it, we made it happen. Look, listen, uh, even as a senior leader, and I've had knee issues. I don't know shit since I think yeah, since my first enlistment. I mean, my knees have been beat to shit. However, I always took it upon, even when we had mock CFTs or PFTs, which a lot of people just gonna they're just there to half-ass it and just kind of put a check in the box. I always give my 110% because I always wanted to see where I stood, and I always I always had a first class PFT and a first class CFT. Now I'm by the way, I'm not a gazelle. I've never been a good runner. I never got an 18-minute flat run. Heck, I didn't. I think I didn't get I think it's a 20-minute, 30-second run. I don't even think I came kind of close to that, but I never got the certificate from the Marine Corps that with a 285 high fitness test. I wish I did. Again, I'm throwing myself out there, letting you know that, but that I'm not a must, a gazelle or whatever that that may be. However, I always got a first class PFT, and I always got also a high CFT as well, because it's all about taking pride. Because I always knew, hey, physically fit, this is where I'm at. And I saw a lot of, and listen, people, fellow warrant officers and senior leaders get fat as shit, and but eventually they got filtered out, and then you got a double signed fitness report. So the whole thing is that nobody cares how busy the battlefield was when the shooting starts. So you have to be ready. You have to meet the standards as well. Because the hard questions is, are we too? Is our schedule that busy in the service for us to not put eh, training and being physically fit? Is it that? Is are we now switching to being more of treating this as, hey, we're in the service, but we're just civilians with uniforms? I mean, is that where we're going? And we obviously the family obligations. It's not that you don't have time. Over the last, I don't know, 10 years, I I I stopped saying, hey, I don't have time. I always say it's not a priority at this moment, and it isn't. So in this individual's case, I get it, brother, and that you're trying to do other things, but you didn't make your career, your fitness, and everything else a priority. So because you have to be responsible. So is responsibility, as far as like your job, does that eliminate standards, or does that responsibility increase them? That's the question. For me, it increased my responsibility. I always, because it's like this. Somebody once told me, hey, when you're doing a uniform inspection and you're wearing your dress blues and you inspect that Marine only gets inspected once during that formal inspection. But you as a leader, how many times do you get inspected? And the answer is each and every time I would step in front of that next Marine uh, that I was going to inspect. So, but if you had a 40-man platoon, I got inspected 40 times. And you best believe that they're going to tell me how fucked up I was if I had anything wrong with my uniform, my ribbons and badges, and whatever else. The same thing goes for physical fitness. Now, was I stronger than some of them, my Marines? Yes. Was I faster? Probably. Were they faster than me? For the most part, yeah. Were they strongly? Yeah, that could pop. However, the whole point is that we have to be able to lead from the front, not not from the rear, not make excuses. Um, and I'll even leave you, because we're getting pretty much kind of close to that time. But you have to prioritize. Here's why. I was a Marine Corps recruiter for during 2006. I was recruiting in San Diego, in the San Diego area, and pretty common for, if you're on the streets, like that was the term of endearment, I guess, being a Marine Corps recruiter. If you're out there on the streets, grooving, shaking hands, kissing babies, that type of shit, uh, you're going from one appointment to the other, and the mission is, bringing people into the military, and I get that. And a lot of us will get kind of in that mode, maybe grabbing a cheeseburger here, cheeseburger there, cheeseburger fucking everywhere. Before you know it, you're 5, 10 pounds, whatever that looks like, and then your fitness standards go. So myself and Sue Seichow is the other guy. He became, as a matter of fact, this guy was my replacement at my office for the seat that I left open. And then this guy also became a warrant officer himself, an engineer, warrant officer. So, and my boy Seichow and I, when because we went through a couple of months, him and I doing our transition while I was pending going to uh, officer candidate school. And Seichow and I were only but a handful, I think maybe five, in the entire in the San Diego district, or within our recruiting station, that had a first class PFT. And by the way, I think 220 is the low number for first class PFT. But I always scored on the 270s realm right there myself. So, and which is not, I get it, it's not easy, but you make it a priority, because I knew that especially in recruiting duty, a double sign fit rep would end your career. So clearly, for this guy to let himself, I guess the bottom line is what I'm saying here, folks, is that clearly fitness, and I don't know, maybe in his unit, maybe in the army, and I'm not poking fingers or anything of the sort. I'm just saying that we're not, clearly fitness is nobody's setting the tone there. So what are the repercussions and what's going to happen? I know in the Marine Corps, people who are overweight, they get put on the physical fitness program, uh, at the company level, which is every week. Every day they do some type of fitness related stuff. Every Friday they take a PFT. I mean, there's a lot of things, and you don't want to. That we call it the fat body program, and you don't want to get, especially as a staff NCO, you don't want to put yourself out there. So usually, I think, because he's a senior Marine, to somewhat save their grace. I think when it comes to a senior staff NCO, Sergeant Major steps in, and because he's in charge of the staff NCOs, the Sergeant Major sets the tone. And at the company level, obviously, the first sergeant takes care of his. Nonetheless, it's you, but junior personnel are going to talk, so you are going to. I mean, bad news travels fast, and people are going to know that, hey, so gunny so and so, staff sergeant so and so fell out of a run, how fucked up. That people are going to talk. Trust me on that. So again, you got to make it a priority. Period. Because if it was expected out of me, it's expected out of anybody. And I'm here to tell you too. As a matter of fact, if anybody wants to challenge me on this or get this, look, I'll be 53 years old, and I got a lot of shit going on as far as that's why I get compensated by the VA. I mean, I got bad shoulder, I got a total knee replacement. Uh, on top of the other 5 surgeries between both knees that I've had, I got back issues. Anything else, I am 100% sure that I can still get a first class PFT. Now, it ain't going to be a high. I'm not a 300% runner, but I can tell you that, yes, I'll pay for it for about a good week and then some. However, I will do a fucking first class PFT. So I will put that. So to that Army staff and CO, again, if this makes its way to him, I will challenge you to a Marine Corps PFT, and we can make shit happen. So because look, I still to this day hold myself to that standard. I don't. Yes, I am a couple of pounds over my max, but that's okay. But I can still make that shit happen. You can count on me on a good fucking bar fight. I will promise you that, because it's all about being accountable and being able to, you know, make shit happen. So, you know, I just want to say I respect honesty. Yes, I got it. I respect your ownership. I respect that. I respect people admitting when they fall short. But the thing that I respect the most is I respect action, because accountability isn't admitting you failed. Accountability is refusing to stay there, right? So somewhere along the way, wrapping it all up, I think we're kind of losing track of all this, and and now we just bash people who are speaking against it. Nah, hey, we need to bring it back, folks. Bring you know bring accountability back. We got I think Lieutenant Colonel Scheller, who went on social media right after the whole Afghanistan, we were pulling out of Afghanistan. I mean, that guy right there, I mean, he called out everybody. He paid for it and he owned it. So if a lieutenant colonel gets basically his career ended because he was calling for accountability, why is this, my guy right here, why is he the excuse for it? And now he's been posting other videos, whatever, saying that he's getting at it, waking up at 3 a.m. I call bullshit on that, whatever. But what's the standard, folks? Hey, Army, what's the standard? I'm curious about your thoughts. All right. So I think this is a good point to end this right here. And if you've been ruminating and holding yourself overly accountable, give me a call. Let's have a chat. Let me talk you off the ledge, because you don't want to go into that rabbit hole that the more you dig in, the more you won't come out of it. Because at the end of the day, yes, while that current situation may seem like it's tough and hard, shitty times do end. Shitty times don't last. Tough guys and gals do. So you have BA, Military One Source, the suicide hotline. Call somebody. All right. So, all right. Well, I think we beat that horse for everybody. So thanks so much for tuning in. So with that being said, hey, I just want to say, Aistamas, Daisuke. I'll see you next week. Ara, get some. Bye.